Here's a little trick for you. The way you remove that judgment out of your own effort and action is that you make yourself the subject of your own experiment. You aren't doing anything. The subject is. At some point in our lives, we all stray off the path that we originally set out to take. And we don't remember how to get back to it. And even if we did, we wouldn't recognize what it looked like. I want to help you get through that barrier of fear, and I want to help you get back to that path that you started on. Numero uno. You have to begin with a hypothesis, okay? This is what most people overlook. If you don't start off with a question, then when you get to the end, you do not know why you did it or where you even started. And so your product is something that you can't make sense of, and so you stay lost. So you got to think about that. What is your question? What is your hypothesis? All right, number 2. You take a very small action. You repeat that over a predetermined amount of days, and that's going to give you a product that you can observe. Now, if you don't know that small action to take, that is what part 1 and part 2 of this series is for. So go back and watch that to find that small action that you're going to take. But right now, what I want to talk about is how much do you repeat it? And for how many days do you do this small action? You got to remember that what we're trying to do is establish a behavior that gives us a sense of something that is more or less of what that original path was. So in order to establish a behavior, you need repetition, right? So that repetition needs to be daily or almost daily. It's also why the action that you're doing needs to be light and it needs to be small, because you're repeating this. Basically, it needs to be enough, which isn't the best answer, but I'm going to tell you, it needs to be at least 4 weeks, but no more than 3 months. Okay, number 3, you need to record it. You must record it, otherwise it didn't happen. Record that in the moment so that you don't have to rely on memory ad hoc. Your memory will fool you. It will lie to you. A tick mark, a few bit of words, something to explain to yourself later when you read about this, what you felt at the time that you did it, and to give yourself credit for doing it. So record it and keep that data for the duration of your experiment, because you're going to need it at the end, okay? So number 3, record it. Number 4, this is where you observe yourself without any judgment. You observe yourself through the records that you took, through your data. As you're looking through this data, you're answering the hypothesis. You're answering that question that you posed. You're answering, did the subject have the outcome that was predicted? If yes, why? If not, why? So that's why repeating it, recording it in the moment, and then once you get to the end, you look at that data, you look at those results, because that's going to give you information about your conclusions, okay? And so number 5 is your conclusions. If the design had been slightly different, would the outcome have also been different? Okay, that's what sets up the next experiment and the next experiment. Your momentum. That's how we get momentum, is one experiment after the next experiment after the next experiment, where we have removed the judgment of our action and effort. Number 5 is where we draw conclusions based upon the observations of our results, okay? Do we sit with it or do we shift with it? Because sometimes we discover very surprising things through this process that we just need a hot second to be with and to chew on, and we get to decide in these moments, do we continue with this behavior or do we ditch it? Sometimes we find those aha moments that give us a recognition of patterns and sensations that direct us back towards that path that we were on. That is where we would shift with it, okay? We would take that momentum and we would shift it just slightly. That is actually called the perception wheel. That's how you shift your perception, just a little bit at a time. And the only way we do that is through experimentation. The way you get back to that path is to stop relying on your memory to dictate your perceptions. You use objective data to do that. And the way that you learn to finish what you start is to make yourself the subject of your own study, so that you're chasing curiosity, you're not chasing an outcome. Memory has a predetermined outcome. Learning is curiosity with attention repeated over time. I hope this will be your November to remember. I hope you start. I hope you finish. I hope you learn something about yourself. If you like this content, if you like what I do, if you like me, like, subscribe, follow me on T-Bombshell. You won't regret it. I'll see you guys later. November to remember. Start, finish, and learn something about yourself. Okay?